Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be filming my updated everyday makeup routine for winter, a little winter edition, because I realized I was going through my Landmas videos. I'm like, what have I missed? I have totally missed this. Usually I film this every year. I do love a good seasonal switch up, as you know. And even though it feels like just yesterday, I did my fall everyday makeup. Why wouldn't we continue with a winter everyday makeup? And while this isn't the most technically filled makeup routine, I think it's always nice to see the products that people are using, continuing to use, the ongoing favorites. It's nice to be reminded that we can still use our same everyday makeup and it can be just as new and exciting, and maybe we switch up a product here and there. We pick up a tip or two and inject that into our everyday makeup routine. There's nothing wrong with that. So here it is, my friends. Here's my winter edition. Before we get started, I'm just gonna let this soak while we have a little chat. I'm still loving my La Roche-Posay balm, and someone asked me the other day if I still love the Weleda Skin Food. And to answer your question, yes, totally. I haven't used it in quite some time, but it's all in the same realm of product. This little Roche-Posay balm, my Embryolisse Les Crèmes Concentrées, any one of those creams are something that I just always keep on hand in the winter time to inject a little bit more hydration specifically around my face. So I just put that on top of my skincare. Like my skincare is in the bathroom. I put a little layer of this on, doing that Kevin Kodra tip to just apply it and let it soak in for a second, I think is always great. So truly, just since I've worked with Embryolisse and La Roche-Posay in the past, I just have lots of backups. I'm always stocked up. They keep me really well loved and stocked, which is so nice. But yeah, it's all in that same kind of category. The Embryolisse is the one I used on my wedding day. Doesn't mean I don't love the La Roche-Posay one, the one I'm using now, and also the Weleda Skin Food, which I've used in the past. They're all kind of that same area. Whatever one is in front of me is the one that I'll use. Now, continuing on with the base, I've pretty much given up primers at this point. Every once in a while, if I want to add a little bit of glow, I'll go in with something like this. This is the Chanel Les Beige Healthy Winter Glow Primer, but I don't feel like I always need it. Usually, if I have a nice base with a finish that I love, that's enough for me. If I want to be a little bit extra fancy, I'll use like a pore filling smoothing primer, but as far as the hydrating primers, I just use my skincare now. So the foundation that I have recently rediscovered and that I'm loving lately is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation. I recently filmed a little video with Revolve for their YouTube channel, and I rediscovered this and I was actually floored. It was a foundation I hadn't used in such a long time. I know I'd used it in the past, but I had no idea just how beautiful it was. And just applying this with my brush, as I love to do, I like my everyday makeup to be nice and quick, so if I can just whip something on with my brush really fast, I love that. I also love to be able to use products with my fingers, which is where my like skin tints get more involved, but because I have a little bit more redness and just this kind of very minuscule rash all over my face, this is where I'd reach for foundation. If I was having a really good skin day, I would ignore the foundation and go for that ultimate lighter coverage and just do a little tint or my tinted SPF, but for a day like today, I do want a little bit extra coverage. This is another one of the foundation offerings that is completely undetectable on the skin. Like, it's just putting that lovely layer on. It's covering up a little bit of what I want to, but it's totally seamless. Like, you can't see where the foundation begins and ends. And this one has a little bit more of a natural finish. Something like my House Labs foundation has a little bit more coverage than this, but is also very, very glowy. So it kind of just depends what you want. I'm out and about for the rest of the day and I just want my makeup to last. I'm not necessarily looking for the glowiest finish today. I don't know. It kind of just depends what I'm feeling. They all kind of feel somewhat the same to me, if I'm totally honest. I know this drives a lot of people crazy when I do my makeup, so I'll just do this right off the top. I'm gonna remove the foundation off my lips. No matter what I do, it always ends up covering my lips, which is so fine, but I know it can look a little bit crazy as I do the rest of my makeup, so we'll just take that off now. And I'm gonna put some lip balm on. This is my Nude Sticks lip butter, and we'll just let that sit while we do the rest of the makeup. Okay, on to bronzer. So I'm feeling many different ways about the bronzer. Obviously, I've added a little bit of warmth to my skin. I'm not gonna shy away from bronzer today, but the two products that I do keep in my daily rotation that I love the most is obviously are the Makeup by Mario. It's one of those days where I can't get the name right. Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. I have this one in the shade Light Medium. I could actually probably get a lighter shade. That would be helpful. But I also have the Victoria Beckham Beauty Contour Stylus in the shade Travertine, which is also so lovely on the skin. So because I haven't used this very much on camera, I feel like I can show you guys how I do this. It's not as creamy as the Makeup by Mario one. It is a little bit more, like just ever so slightly more of a dry formula. And it's one that I also draw onto the skin. I always give myself a little Crayola visual. Let me also redeem myself from that contour moment that we had the other day. Thank you so much. If you know, you know. I'm gonna certainly blend this in so much more. I think I just have a nose that doesn't work for contour. I've just come to accept that. It doesn't work, it's too knobbly. No matter what I do, depending on where the light is hitting, the nose is gonna look crooked because it is crooked. It actually goes at an angle. I have beautiful photos that really nicely visualize this. If I wasn't so terrified in life, I would probably do something about that. Just for my own sanity and love of symmetry. Anyways, I'm gonna blend this in using my Smith 157 brush. I often see questions from you guys asking about the brushes that I use. My brushes truly don't change. And if they do, I certainly let you know about it. So I always use the same brushes, but noting for moving forward, I will try and call them out more as I use them. So this is my Smith 157 brush. It's beautiful. Every once in a while, I'll use this for cream blush too, but I have my other favorites for blush. So I'm just gonna blend this out. I'm doing this on the perimeters of my face. I like products like these where the shade is nicely in between a warm and cool tone, so I feel like I can use it for both. I rarely use a bronzer and a contour these days. I try to just have products that act as a little two-in-one. And I'm also not precious about my everyday makeup. I know that every time I film something like a makeup artist tips video, the biggest thing is to go slowly, take your time to build layers, but the reality of doing my everyday makeup is I just want it to be something I can do so quickly. I don't want to have to sit and think about it. I do want to be able to just rub it onto my face and be done. So I do acknowledge the professionals when they say to take your time and apply slowly. Most of the time that just doesn't fly with me. One thing I love about these little contour pens is that you can use them as eyeshadow. So you could totally use a separate eyeshadow product, but this little beautiful in between, a bronzer and a contour shade, makes such a beautiful eyeshadow too. So for my everyday makeup, I love to use whatever bronzer that I'm using and just put that onto the eyelid. I know a few people will usually comment that these products are not tested for eyes, they're not safe for around the eyes, but we'll just cross that bridge if we ever get there, okay? In the meantime, it just looks so lovely and it just blends in with the rest of the face, so I love that. Now we're gonna go in with concealer. This is my Tower 28 Serum Concealer. I think the last everyday makeup I filmed, I was still using the shade DTLA. We have since changed to the shade BU, and it has changed my life because it actually matches my lighter skin tone, which is so delightful. And sometimes I don't feel like I necessarily need to go in with an additional concealer. It's more so what I want to do. I like to have that additional highlighted area on the inner parts of my face. I really like to get right in there. And I think that separation from the rest of the foundation just adds a little bit more dimension. And as I blend in the concealer, I'm kind of applying the underpainting principle where I will blend this out with my little Morphe A14 brush. This is the Makeup by Ariel collab. I'll blend the first layer in with this brush and just be nice and precise about it, focusing this in the inner corners and under the eye, and you can see just how much brightness it brings to the face versus just having that one shade all over. Under eye correctors is another thing that I've kind of removed from my usual go-to makeup routine, and though there's a time and a place for it, I love to play with them every once in a while if I'm like recreating a makeup look or following the makeup artist tips, but for the most part, even if my eyes did still look dark, I don't find that I have the intensity that requires an under eye corrector, whereas I know some people they're like, oh no, I can't live without my under eye corrector. Do not take my under eye corrector away from me, and I totally support you. We all have our products that work for us. I find that if I put a brightening concealer under there, that's enough for me. And that's just because I'm pale and translucent. If I layer up any more product under there, I just look like a flaky mess. So even here, actually, I kind of applied a lot. And I'll just go in with my finger and pat that in. And once I've blended the concealer in with that smaller brush, I then go back in with my foundation brush. This is the IT Cosmetics number 7 brush, and I just pat that over. I'll pretty much just go over top of where I've applied the contour product because it'll just remove any of the lines, push it in, and there's gonna be some leftover product in here in the bristles that'll just further blend it all together. And I think that doing something like this, just going over top of the layers, just does like a lighter version of underpainting and just makes it all look so natural and undetectable. And now we go in with the setting spray. This is the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. I've just been loving this one. I think I got it because of Kevin Kodra. I think this was one of his favorites. Maybe it was that moment, but I really love the smell. I love the feeling. I think it's nice. Do I know whether or not setting sprays actually make your makeup last longer? No, I don't. But I do find that when you do spray it in, you just experience a kind of melting effect and everything just soaks together. It's the similar principle as MAC Fix Plus, which we could also do a layer of Fix Plus. I'm never opposed to Fix Plus, and I always have that sitting around. It just depends on what you're feeling, to be honest. So I'm gonna leave the face, I'm gonna let that sit in for now, and then I'm gonna go do brows. You guys, this little Valentino brow trio, I picked this up because of Melissa Herkman. It has changed my life. I don't know if you guys have noticed my brows looking a little different lately, but I feel like this has been kind of a game changer. I mentioned that a few of my brow products were just pulling a little bit warm, and I was looking for a cooler toned brow pencil to better match my natural brow hairs, and I picked this up somewhat recently. And at first I was like, I don't really care for the pen. I'm more so using the pencil side. The shade match was divine. However, I have come to appreciate the trio in its entirety. So I start with the pen, which I've definitely loved some brow pens in the past, but sometimes it can just be so inconsistent with how it releases the product onto your face. Like sometimes you'll get a really intense thick line and then sometimes there'll be nothing. And it's so annoying. You have to store them upside down, whatever. I haven't experienced any issues with this pen. It's light, and at first I was like, oh, there's nothing happening, but I realized I can be so quick and messy with it, which again is perfect for my everyday makeup. Filling in my brows is one of my like longest, most annoying processes in my makeup life, and so anything that can make it fast is great to me. So I literally just flick this through. Flicky, 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 flicky. Sometimes I go a little bit overboard, but that's where, regardless of the brow product that I'm using, I always keep a clean eyeshadow brush on hand and I just fluff in the inner corners. But hopefully you guys can see like how fast and easy that was to apply. I do have a little zit right there on the tip of my brow, so if it looks like I smudged something, I know it's weird, but it is a zit, unfortunately. We can add a little bit more concealer after if we wish, but then I'm gonna switch to the other side, use the brow pencil, and I use this to just fill in the tail of the brow. I think that the shade match is just perfect, and I like how like long and kind of girthy this pencil is. It's very easy to hold. I love it. This is like a new huge addition to my everyday makeup routine. I know I don't talk through my brows so often because usually I'm using like 3 or 4 different products and it takes me like 10 minutes to fill in my brows, but this, even though it still takes me some time, it's so great. So shout out to you, Melissa Herkman. Then I'm gonna set them in. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze Gel. I accidentally bought the mini of it, which is fine. We're living. And it works just the same. It's one of those brow products that has just also really impressed me. It really holds the hairs and keeps that feathery look without being slick to my skin and laminated. I'm kind of over the laminated brow for now. We always go in and out of phases, but right now I just want that soft, more natural looking fluffy brow. I don't want it slicked. And now that the brows are on, we're gonna bring our attention back to the face. Once the setting spray has soaked in, I'm now gonna go in with powder. The Makeup by Mario setting powder is really so great. You know, I was really mourning the loss of our OG Givenchy Prism Lead powder, and then Makeup by Mario launched this one. Perfect timing for him, truly. He couldn't have asked for a better marketing strategy there. But what I found is that the Givenchy one was like a little bit too intense for my everyday makeup. I still used other powders. I saved the Givenchy one for my more glam, more full coverage makeup moments. But what I like about this one is that I'm getting that same blurring effect, but it's just not as intense. Like it's just a level under the Givenchy one in terms of how like blurred and powdery the finish looks. So I love that I can just take a little bit. I dip my brush in, wipe it off into the palm of my hand, remove like all the excess product, and then I'm applying it onto my skin from there. And I just focus this on the center of my face where I get a little bit shiny. I don't want the makeup to move. Sometimes in the winter, the skin around my mouth can just be so dry, but even still, I just touch my face so much. I have so much movement around my mouth. If I don't use a powder, like it's fine, but my makeup just won't last as long. So depending on what I'm doing that day will determine how much powder I use or if I use powder at all. So I am leaving the house today. Like I said, I am going out and about, so I do want my makeup to last nicely, but if I want the ultimate perfect, like hydrating, natural everyday makeup, then I just won't set in with powder and I'll just leave it alone. But usually I don't use powder if I'm using like my SPF tint or just like a really nicely tinted base. If I'm going with foundation and I'm doing the foundation, the concealer, I'm doing the thing, then I like to set it with powder. So I don't always apply blush after my powder, but for the everyday makeup, I kind of like to use my blush and highlight as a final step just to blend it all back in and bring some more health to my face. So obviously my favorite everyday blush of all time is the Nude Sticks Bareback. Oh, it's just so good. And I realized actually that a few of my favorites are all kind of in the same color story. This is one of my favorite powders from Surratt. Thank you, Katie Jane Hughes, for that recommendation years ago. This is the MAC Blush Please blush, which is just a little bit deeper. Yeah, I kind of, whatever color this is just my favorite for my everyday blush. And I think I've realized it's because, much like the Victoria Beckham contour, it's that in between. It's not too cool and it's not too warm. It's just right in between and adds a really natural flush. I find that this, maybe it's because it matches the tone of my lips. It just gives that really natural monochromatic feel when I put it on. Maybe that's why I'm so drawn to it. But this is the Nudies Matte formula, so it's not going to be too glowy and it's not too sticky, so your hair doesn't get all stuck in it. But yeah, I just love the color of this, and I could really truly get rid of all my other blushes if I had to pick one. If I had to pick one blush to wear for the rest of time, this would be the one. Again, was my wedding day blush. I feel very strongly about it, and she is a beaut and a favorite. When I'm applying the blush, I just bring it like up onto the eye, bring it up beyond the brow, and just kind of blend it all in. It's like barely there. Bareback is its name, and it means it. Just adds that little extra a little extra kiss. Then for a highlight, I have also just recently decided that this Victoria Beckham Pearl highlight is my favorite highlight ever, ever, ever. The packaging is just exquisite. It just brings me so much joy to use it every time. Sometimes I feel like more of a pinky highlight, but for the most part, for my everyday, just this really juicy, barely there highlight makes such a difference. I find that whenever I apply this onto my skin, it just makes my skin look so healthy. The glow is insane, and some highlights can be very glittery, some highlights can be really chunky and also a little bit dry looking. Like, not all cream and liquid highlights play nicely on top of the products underneath. Sometimes I apply a highlight and if it's too juicy, it just removes all the product underneath it and you'll end up with like a little bald spot where I applied the highlight. This is just that perfect in between. When you rub your finger into it, I don't know if you guys can see the like wet layer that it gets on top. Oh, it's really truly exquisite, and I feel like that just intensifies the highlight in such a manner that I now look healthy as fuck. And that's the base done. We can finish off with the lips. Now you guys, if you know, you know. I feel like I say this all the time, but no matter what I do, people don't watch my videos through to the end, I guess. Because I get constant messages all the time of people being like, I can still get nude beige, I can pick it up for you, you guys. I just need to say it. Perhaps this will be the final time. Maybe I'll just ignore it going forward, but NYX Nude Beige still exists. It still exists, but they changed the shade, okay? I love and appreciate those of you who message me saying that you're gonna pick it up for me and ship it to me. It's not the same. It's not the same. The shade doesn't exist anymore. They changed it. Apparently they've changed other shades. However, Jen Alguire, our loving savior angel, gave me her old backups. So obviously to you, I say every day, most days now, I am obviously wearing NYX Nude Beige because it is perfect and there is no shade that is like it in shade and formula, okay? No product is the dupe for this. It's so unfortunate. So just know I'm usually wearing that, but obviously I don't want to tease you. So today we're going to use the Sephora Collection Nudist. I was actually undecided if I was going to use this or Makeup Forever Endless Cacao, but the Sephora Nudist is a beautiful, beautiful option. Again, for the everyday, and I think that I just usually like to use a shade that's closest to my lip color because I'm just wanting to add definition back to my lips, maybe intensify it, add a little bit more definition. My issue with products like this, which you maybe have just seen that I just did it, when they're more on the creamy side, I'm just more likely to accidentally slip and overline a little bit, which I did just do on that side. Sometimes I get comments being like, you're having lip blindness. Yeah, also sometimes my finger just slips and I don't feel like fixing it. Like right there, I just keep adding. I'm just using this to trace the outer line. It's still so pretty and so natural for every day. Now I have to show you guys the lip product that I have been wearing lately. Okay, if I want a gloss, what I'm reaching for the most is my Bobbi Brown Bare Lilac Plump Lip Serum. This is beautiful. It's so hydrating. It's so gorgeous. There are many lip products that I love and use. I rotate on the daily. My new favorite is this one right here. Another product that I actually picked up when I was doing my Revolve video. I don't think I actually ended up using it in the Revolve video, but I got it on Revolve. So this shade in particular, this is the Pat McGrath Labs Divine Rose 2 Lip Fetish Divinal Lip Shine, number 597. Such a long name. Apparently, from what I've seen, it's not on Sephora, but it is on Forward and Revolve. I also saw it on the Pat McGrath website and a few other random sites. But this shade, speaking of color analysis and colors that make you feel amazing, there are very few lip products in the world that I will put on when I have no other makeup on my face. These are two of the products that just work. I put this on and I feel like it adds such glory to my skin. It makes me look so alive and awake. I don't know what this shade is, but it is perfect. It is one of the best everyday lip colors that I have ever worn and found and used. And I just need to tell you because I'm shouting it from the rooftops. If you have seen a shade like this over the last few videos of mine, it is most likely this. Look at that gorgeous color. Oh my god, it's so juicy. It's so beautiful. The packaging is so cute. And a brand like Pat McGrath Labs, I'm kind of confused by their launches. I don't know if this was a limited edition like Divine Rose 2 collection. I've seen that that was a collection, so I don't know if it just doesn't exist anymore. If it was just limited edition shades, whatever, I don't know, but it's beautiful. If it is a shade that they're gonna discontinue, I'm gonna have to buy it back up because look at that shine. It literally matches the pearl shine on my face. Like, it is so pretty. And this has completely changed and updated my everyday makeup right now. I'm in love. Once I'm done, I'll go ahead and do a final spritz of my setting spray. And I'm gonna leave it here just for you to enjoy the visual for a moment because there are many days that I do go without mascara. I have very sensitive, very itchy eyes. I'm allergic to my cat. I'm allergic to the world, apparently, because my eyes are just constantly red and sore and itchy. And sometimes mascara just aggravates that. So depending on how much makeup I'm putting on, depending on what I'm doing throughout my day, I may or may not wear mascara, and that's totally fine. Sometimes, if I want to intensify my everyday makeup, I will go in with mascara, and I just use products that are really easy to remove at the end of the day. day, and that makes a big difference. So this is the Lancome Hypnose Mascara. It's in the shade brown, which is another adjustment that I made to my everyday makeup to feel much more natural and flirty, and I just think that I suit a brown mascara best. So I might not go so heavy-handed with this, but I'll just do a light and fluffy little layer if I want to make my lashes pop for the day. It's so soft and fluttery and pretty, and it lasts all day, and it doesn't flake. It does not flake. I will not turn into a raccoon with this. It's a miracle mascara. To the gal who recommended this to me earlier this year, thank you. We love you. And it has been the mascara that I've pretty much been using since. And with a little wash of mascara, that, my friends, is the finished makeup look. We were doing a little shoot yesterday and my hair was looking uneven in the photos, and I was like, what's going on? I feel like the left side of my hair had grown faster, and so I just thought, oh, I'll just trim a little bit of my bang. Now I created a jagged chunk, so if you see that, no you don't, just ignore that. I was trying to grow my bangs out and I ended up just chopping a block, so that's nice, that's fun. Anyway, that's the finished makeup look, you guys. Those are a few of the products and a few techniques that I have updated for my everyday makeup for winter to have a very healthy, natural glow on the face, to feel a little bit more fabulous for our everyday, and also using very hydrating, loving products that suit our very flaky, dry winter skin. So I hope you enjoyed this look. Let me know what products you are loving for your everyday makeup, if any at all, in the comments down below, and I will see you all tomorrow for a new Landmas video. Thanks for watching. Bye!